What does subject to mean? Some of you might know, and maybe not. Subject to is a condition or a term or a contingency within a real estate contract. Some common subject to conditions you might be familiar with are things like subject to inspection. I'm sure some of you folks have bought a house before you got involved in creative real estate, where you got a bank loan, maybe you made an offer on a house to purchase, and it was contingent or subject to an appraisal, or subject to your financing, or subject to an attorney's review. Maybe you're buying a house from a for sale by owner, subject to a partner's approval. But in creative real estate, when we say subject to, we mean subject to the existing financing. What's this mean? In simple terms, it means you buy the house and leave the loan in place. The owner deeds you the property. That means you own it. It's not control. You own it. You get all the tax benefits with that. Let's go with some commonly asked questions about subject to investing. Why would a homeowner remain liable for a debt and relinquish total control and ownership over to an investor they just met? I get people that give me houses all the time, sign them over, and write me a check for the first few months' payments the first time they meet me. Would I do that? Hell no. Absolutely not. But do they? Absolutely. You know why? Because they're feeling pain. Is buying this way illegal? No. Absolutely not. What about the due on sale clause? Perhaps some folks know what that is. We'll cover a little bit on that in a minute. There's nothing illegal, immoral, or unethical about buying property subject to. Let's take a moment and take a look at the due on sale clause. Some of you folks might not know what it is. Hopefully you do, but I'd like to go into detail a little bit. Let's take a look at a typical due on sale clause. You'll take a moment and read that. It says transfer of property or beneficial interest in borrower. And if you have a mortgage on your personal residence or some investment property you own, feel free to take out your mortgage documentation and look and see what it says. It's either going to be called the acceleration clause or the due on sale clause. But the language is going to be what you see before you here. If all or any part of the property or any interest in it is sold or transferred, or if a beneficial interest in borrower is sold or transferred, and borrower is not a natural person, without lender's prior written consent, here's the key words, folks, pay attention to these, lender may at its option require immediate payment in full of all sums secured by the security instrument. So in other words, if you own a house, Brock, and you deed it to me, you don't tell the bank, you just quit claim it over to me, that bank can then send you a letter and me a letter that says, I want the entire balance within 30 days. And if you don't pay it, their recourse is to foreclose. It's a violation of the due on sale clause to transfer your property without getting the lender's permission. But you know what? I'm not going to ask a bank, or anybody for that matter, what I'm going to do with something I own. It's my property. You can't tell me how I'm going to sell it. So I bought it in the first place. Provide myself with financial freedom, security, all the benefits of being an investor boil down to one thing: complete and total control over your own life, which equals freedom. There's a reason I'm a biker, folks. I love getting on my bike, feeling the wind in my face, going down the highway, feeling like I'm in charge, and everything in front of me is an endless possibility. Real estate does the same thing. That's what my Harley does for me. That's what happens when I buy a house. Second part. However, this option should not be exercised by lender if exercise is prohibited by federal law as of the date of the security instrument. If lender exercises this option, lender shall give borrower notice of acceleration. The notice shall provide a period of no less than 30 days, blah, 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 blah. Bottom line is, the lender may at its option. Pretty powerful words. A lot of folks ignore them. I talk to people about subject to all the time. I had an attorney just a month ago tell me I was crazy to buy houses that way. I should never try it. By the way, I've done over 500 deals this way. I should never try it because every single time title is transferred without the lender's consent, they call the loan due. He was wrong. Glad he paid a lot for law school. There's no such thing as a due on sale trigger. When this attorney explained it to me, he said, the minute you transfer insurance or change the insurance or anything, the lender's going to find out and they're going to trigger the due on sale clause. The due on sale clause isn't a landmine, folks. It's not a grenade. It's not going to blow up in your face if you deal with it appropriately.
They don't want the house back.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
They want the money as long as they get the money.
My challenge to those folks who say they've seen a loan call due, and I've heard this before, because as TC said, I still to this day participate in news groups and discussion forums online. If anybody posts online and you see Jim Florida, that's me. I believe in giving back, and that's why I do it. I also do it to exercise my brain. If somebody else has a real estate problem and I can read about it, offer them advice or help them work it out, I'm just that much better off for it, because if I face that issue later on, if I haven't already, I've already worked it out. So my challenge to anybody who says they've seen a loan call due because it was sold subject to, show them. A couple of years ago, there was a big scare going through the real estate investing community. People said, don't buy houses subject to where the loan is held by Countrywide. Countrywide will call the loan due every single time. I've got about 45 houses with Countrywide loans on it. I sure hope not. That would be a real hassle. Not something I look forward to. So then I talked to the person who started it and said, show me this loan that you had called due. And you know what happened? It was a non-performing loan. It had nothing to do with the fact that she had bought it subject to. It had everything to do with the fact that she stopped making the payments, and the seller called Countrywide and said, quit bugging me, I don't own it anymore. And they called the loan due. But of course that part was conveniently left out of the real estate discussion forums. The world's full of naysayers, folks. Ignore them. Absolutely ignore them. I'm the kind of guy that believes, if you tell me I can't do it,
oh my goodness,
I'm going to do it. And in fact, I'm going to do it twice, and the second time right in front of you. Lenders are not in the business of owning houses, just like you said. It's not how they make their money. Leave the landlording to us. It's a non-issue if you handle it correctly, and I will be covering that today. Of course, my course teaches that. And I do have to give you folks this disclaimer. I am up here to share some information with you, but I'm not going to lie to you either. I'm here to sell that too. And there's a reason for that. What I'm going to share with you today is an extremely powerful technique for buying houses, but it has a lot of details involved in it. And if after 2 hours of listening to me you feel you can go out and do a deal, you're shortchanging yourself and you're setting yourself up for disaster. What I'm hoping to do today is plant a seed. Let you think about where it can grow, where it can go, and the details are in there. Okay. That's as honest with you as I can get. Everything's in there. Paperwork, discussions, you name it. We'll get to that later also. So remember, the lender made its option. The due on sale clause is not an issue. That applies to lease options as well. And land contracts.